Well, you know what? I did pick out Ryan Fitzmagic. So how you feel about it?
Hey,
Hey, he around
I'm
18
not
years.
surprised how long you've been in the league and so many teams. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I picked him off, but I picked off a younger version of Ryan. This older version of Ryan actually is pretty damn good, and he can flat out play. Don't forget the guy got benched in Miami for winning too much. So that tells you a lot about him and where he's at. And he's in the top, hey, believe this or not, he's in the top 5, top 6 in QBR and completions in the last 3 years of his career. He's got better. It's like wine. He's getting better. But I got something that I feel, as much as I know Ryan is going to help us win and he's going to be that guy, you know, sometimes in football, it's all about the story. I feel a Kurt Warner type story happening with Tyler Heineke. I just feel if Ryan Fitzmagic missed just 1 or 2 games, he'll never get his job back again. I feel that Tyler Heineke would get in there and really become Kurt Warner of the Washington football team. Yes, the guy that comes out of nowhere that was bagging groceries that turns into a Hall of Famer. I gotta feel it.
How does that OG title make you feel to know that you had made an imprint into this fan base and things like that?
Oh, that's what it make you feel. Oh, you used to look at the guys like B. Mitch and Doc Walker, you Sonny Jurgensen's, and you like, man, they played and they was a part of historic teams, and all of a sudden, we didn't have any history. I think we brought a different energy to the city, and just having the luxury of playing with Sean T and playing with Santana, myself, Marcus, Chris Samuel.
Yes,
I think
sir.
the guys, Smoke, those guys that was in that community meant so much.
Let's go ahead and turn this thing down a little bit. Y'all know the vibes, man. Hold on, let me turn this thing down.
The Kerry Campbell's.
Here we go.
The list goes on.
Oh, we got a whole.
Embedded in the community. And
boom. All right, I think we good. Let's try this again. Oh shoot, it's the banner. Wait, what in the world is going on with this one? There we go. Fuck. God damn. Sick of StreamYard. Oh man, welcome back to another episode of the Travel Die Podcast, man. Oh, it's a rough night. But we are here with the instant recap provided to you by 214 Media. I am your host. We got the good man AJ and Dre checking in to recap this 8th loss of the season. Not too good. As somebody named Spurrier would like to say, not too good, man. Fellas, how y'all doing tonight before we go ahead and get to these numbers?
Hey, I'm doing all right. It's Tuesday night shit, man. I guess we all right.
I'm cool.
AJ should be happy they lost today. I know AJ happy we lost. That's a win for AJ.
I mean,
he was a little excited to get on this post game. You know what I'm saying? I can't. Look, hey, when we starting up, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk a little shit right quick.
Because it's just crazy to me how these teams work sometimes. But we'll touch on it.
All right. And joining us today, we do have Parker Hamlett, Sideline Sports Washington. But let me go ahead and get into these numbers, and then we can go ahead and introduce. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and bring them in right quick. Hold on 1 second. Make sure we're good right there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these numbers and then circle back. So, as we all know, Washington loses to Philadelphia Eagles 27-17. The numbers, Garrett Gilbert, whatever the hell his name is. I'm sorry, don't disrespect you, Mr. Gilbert. 20 of 31, 194 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, sacked 2 times for 20 yards. Antonio Gibson, 15 carries, 26 yards on the day. The second leading rusher, Jared Patterson, 20 yards. The team ran for a total of 63 yards on 21 carries. The leading receiver, Terry McLaurin, 2 catches, 51 yards. Obviously, the longest one was 46 on the day. Philadelphia, 20 of 26 for Jalen Hurts, 296 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, sacked 3 times. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles rush offense, who they just took over from the second quarter on. 41 carries, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 by Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders on the day had 18 carries for 131 yards. And then Dallas Goedert The leading receiver on the day, 7 catches, 135 yards for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then I guess we can go ahead and pause it there and get to the team stats. 23 first downs for Philly, 14 for Washington, 35 EOP for Philly, 24 for the Washington football team. 2 turnovers for Philly, 0 for Washington. They still find a way to lose. It is what it is. Philly averaged 5.8 yards per carry on the day, and that was ultimately one of the biggest factors behind this dominating win, so it seemed, for the Philadelphia Eagles. Parker is in. Again, we have Parker, Sideline Sports Washington, and I think it's Rudy Reviews, I believe, right? The gaming side of things, man. Parker is checking in to help us recap this Washington football team. Unfortunate loss that we have to discuss. But Parker, how you feeling today? Everything good with you?
Feeling about as good as I could feel after an outcome I think all of us saw coming due to the unforeseen circumstance of COVID ravaging the roster. My pregame over at Sidelines on Thursday felt ancient come yesterday, just with how just the state of this team going in. I mean, expecting anything other than this outcome really to me all is ill-advised, but thanks for letting me join you guys on the show today.
Already. I definitely wanted to have you on because I had let's get to this first, fellas. Dre, AJ. Because when you had invited me on, one of the things that stood out to me was because I do my post games, as you can tell right now, I do my post games immediately after the game is over. So when I did your show and you were asking me about the Sean Taylor Memorial and all these things, all of the information that I was telling you at the time, I didn't process all of the things wrong with how they handled the thing before I got on your podcast. And
see, I was wondering what the disconnect was.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought it was normal. I truly had no idea how wrong they were. What's going on, Sleezo, Jarian? Sleezo, get out my chat with that, please. No Eagle stuff. But yes, let's turn to what Washington did before the game even started, fellas. I'm gonna hand the floor to Parker, and then we can go round table and just get our thoughts on how everything unfolded this afternoon. The shipping of the benches to the Philadelphia Eagles game, to the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium, it was clearly a copycat move, because the only team to have ever done it in the NFL to this point was Jerry Jones last week. So all of a sudden, Washington picks it up and does their thing, and unfortunately, it doesn't work out well for them at the scoreboard thing. Parker, what's your thoughts on that and how this game unfolded for Washington?
Well, we're already hobbling into the game with Garrett Gilbert Grape, whatever you want to go with. And, for me, the narrative with Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones has always been Dan's always tried to be like Jerry. He's always been that little brother complex. And this really cemented it. And, if this trends into being something that people do around the league with the bench thing, which that seems to be the direction they're going in, that's all cool and well. But you're already stumbling in without your starting quarterback and half of your roster on COVID protocol, and a must-win game, and that drastically lowers your playoff percentage if you do not win, and that turned out to be the case for the Washington football team. And, I felt like we weren't really in a favorable position coming in, and this was just another thing to laugh at for Washington football. We're already kind of the laughing stock around the National Football League, the NFC East, and you're already coming off of an embarrassing loss as it is, and which you need to be a bounce-back game, and now you're making this about, Coach Rivera said multiple things about Mike McCarthy's comments, right? Mike's is making this about himself. And I feel like this draws a lot of negative attention to the Washington football team going into this matchup, and what is now a loss for the Washington football team, significantly reducing their playoff chances. So, I mean, kind of making the narrative about everything but football, and that's not what this team needed. And, of course, they fell up short with a guy who making his second ever start back up in Dallas last year, Garrett Gilbert. I don't care about all the connections. You got the Ron Rivera, Carolina connection like we always have. But overall, about what I expected for the Washington football team. I mean, we can get into the numbers and everything, but definitely weren't clicking on all cylinders. And Philadelphia, I feel like, should be just as embarrassed as the Washington football team coming out of this performance as well, because they definitely weren't clicking outside of their run game, which was dominant. Would you say 233 yards on the ground total for the Eagles? I mean, that's a ridiculous number.
238. So. Fellas, AJ, Dre, whoever wants to take this first. Obviously, that we all know here, all four of us know that the bench thing isn't what ultimately won or lost the game for Washington, but obviously just another storyline added to what happened tonight. So with that being said, Dre or AJ, your thoughts on the game and obviously the move that they made pregame to try and I guess set the tone for a better lack of or for a lack of words in this regard.
I want to hear AJ's opinion first because I'm dying to know what he thinks about this game.
I mean, I'm not even gonna touch on the bench shit. That shit is just childish at this point. Like, who gives a fuck what you sit on? You feel me? Like, who cares?
Hey, Dan cares. That nigga said, "Hey, that man said that man said, hold on, bruh. Ron, I need this dub. I'm bringing these benches in, make us look good. You know what I'm saying? Handle your business."
Fucking child, Dan the child.
But nah,
like,
go ahead, AJ.
I don't care about no benches, but I mean, overall with the game, I think it's just disappointing how the defense came out and played. But at the same token, this Jack Del Rio defense has always struggled going against versatile quarterbacks that can run the ball. For whatever reason, during the week of game planning, they're never disciplined enough, reading their keys, things of that nature. So teams that have a dual threat quarterback can take advantage of the fact of the RPOs, the jet sweeps, the bootlegs, the different play actions, all of that. Because this team, it just seems like they don't practice it enough. They're just too comfortable with, going against pocket passers. But overall, I mean, for me, man, I felt like they still had a chance even with the circumstances. And even earlier in the game, they did. I mean, I don't know why we still have old ass refs in the NFL, but at the end of the day, they definitely could have. They could have had a pick six. That was taken away because these refs in the NFL are so fast to blow their whistle. Then on top of that, I guess my issue I have is with certain franchises, right? Let's say you're in this predicament where you may not be playing with your starting quarterback, and now you go and get a guy off a practice squad or off the street. Why not get a quarterback that can also run? Because when you put a guy like a Gilbert back there who just came to Washington on Friday, and you throw him back there, he's a statue. And he's a statue because you done had this motherfucker on your team in the past. So he's not going to make no outside plays, not going to get creative. It's like the best thing that you could do for your team is put yourself in a position where you do have a backup that can create on the fly. I mean, just look at Lamar Jackson's backup and Huntley. Like this guy, he in my opinion, he was pretty solid out of college, right? But at the end of the day, when you can create on the fly, you can extend plays, it goes a long way for an offense. And I feel like Ron Rivera and his staff once again failed from a player personnel standpoint and bringing in a guy like Gilbert. And it also spoke volumes that you have Kyle Shermer on your roster since September and you don't even trust him enough to play in this situation. That means you're not even preparing the guys on your roster to play in a case of this nature because reality is COVID is out here. You feel me? And COVID is outside. So it's like you're not even preparing guys on your rosters taking up spots or whatever, and you have to bring in a dude that I guess from the telecast, he was kicking it with his wife and his kids in the crib, missed 25 calls. Next thing you know, he has to fly to D.C. to now play quarterback against the Philadelphia Eagles. And you need these type of games. It's just like you're playing around. You're not serious. So overall for me, it's just like, hey, I kind of warned you guys about this, getting too hyped up about the rest of the season and all these other opportunities that they might have. And here we are.
Look, AJ taking his victory laps. Look,
now we gonna circle back on this. We're gonna circle back to this Gilbert conversation, but I want to make sure Dre gets his points off for what he saw tonight and stuff like that. Because I have a few rebuttals about this Gilbert thing.
I actually wanted to start off with a rebuttal on that. First off, I know AJ is saying that they probably should have brought in a more mobile QB to kind of fit the offense. But if you look at all the quarterbacks they got on the team, Taylor Heineke's really the only mobile guy they have. I mean, even when Ryan Fitzpatrick, he wasn't a mobile quarterback. I mean, not at his age at this point. Kyle Allen's not a mobile quarterback in a sense. Heineke's the only one that's really the off-script guy, but they don't really have him run a bunch of zone reads or anything like that when you watch Heineke run the offense. So, I mean, Gilbert looked like he ran pretty much. I mean, he looks like a guy that can run the offense, that whatever offense they want to run. I didn't really necessarily have an issue with them having him out there. Obviously, I guess they've seen Kyle Shermer all year, whether they tried to get him ready or not. They just know the guy isn't ready. Kind of like Steven Montez last year. Like, Montez was not ready. They weren't going to put him in. They put Heineke off the street in the game. So,
that's actually a good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the game goes in general, I mean, I thought Gilbert kind of exceeded expectations in a sense. I mean, I honestly didn't expect nothing out of him tonight. And I thought he kept the team afloat for the most part, but the defense just completely collapsed after a while. Like, it was that stretch right before halftime. I mean, Philadelphia was getting at least 9 yards per play. I mean, it was like they couldn't. Yes. Every run play, the offensive line just parted the sea. I mean, no one was close. I think the linebackers on this team are just completely awful. I don't know if it was a COVID issue with guys not being able to practice all week, like the defensive line. I know most of those guys were out, so I don't know if that was an issue with the defense. But I mean, it was pretty bad. Like, I mean, they couldn't get a stop at all. I think we stood no chance if you expected Garrett Gilbert to go in there and win a shootout type of game. Because at that point, the way the defense was playing it towards the end of the game, it was going to have to be a shootout win. So, I mean, all things considered, I thought Garrett Gilbert, he kind of kept them afloat. And Ron Rivera and the coaching staff in general, I mean, it was a tough week. I mean, not to make excuses, but I mean, shit, you're down 16 guys from COVID, and it's a shorthanded experience. Even coaches, like a lot of the position coaches were out tonight. A lot of those guys weren't even at the stadium today. So it was just a lot to deal with. You didn't have a lot of practice time this week, and I mean, it was just a tough hand stacked against them going into the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Sleezo,
shout out to Jennifer. She got a little bit of a promotion too.
Yeah, she was the lead running back coach tonight. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I mean, so now, I can definitely understand AJ's point. I feel like this coaching staff's a little dated with their beliefs and their outlook on a lot of things. But for me, at least from my observations, and this is not just on the broadcast, but just in general, it seemed to be about the NFL experience. And let's not get it twisted. Kyle needs to be like his pops. He just needs to be holding a clipboard. It doesn't need to be any deeper than that. I really think that's what separated it. But you definitely want to see them kind of adapt and maybe bring in kind of a more new era type of quarterback. But unfortunately, at least from my observation, it looked like Garrett was the best that they had to offer. And would he walk in the building on Friday? I mean, it's absolutely crazy, just unforeseen circumstances. So,
yeah, that's really what I was going to turn to. Like the quarterback position. And I know we talk about quarterback a lot on here, but the quarterback position, to be honest with you, it wasn't really a serious concern throughout the game. Like, if my storyline, like we typically do this, if I had a storyline today, it was understanding that we got everybody that we needed back on that defensive line. And that front seven still got dominated. Like, that was the one thing that you probably didn't expect to see, like getting dominated against the Philly, even though they are a really good run team. But you kind of thought that you would have been able to at least hold your own, and at least have some wins for your offense and for your team. And for Washington's side of the ball, when they're with their offense on the field, Gilbert wasn't as impressive as he started out. Like, he started out really comfortable. Scott Turner seemed to really trust him and handed him some plays. He even took that deep shot when they got the fumble, handed it to Terry McLaurin, or giving Terry McLaurin a chance, and he came through and delivered. So you kind of see how things worked out for Washington in that sense. But when you ultimately narrow down to what happened with the offense, I think that the run game was a problem, obviously. But then also there was some pressure in Gilbert's face, and that's something that he didn't handle well. It looked like a hot potato in his hand when he saw the pressure. He just wanted to get the ball out. He didn't care who was around. He didn't care who the target was. He just wanted to make sure the ball was out of his hands, and that's kind of what affected him for the most part. But if that run game can't get established, it's two weeks in a row, and ultimately, like AJ said, and like we all kind of understand, the playoffs part is going to be a distant conversation now. But if there was something that kind of doomed these guys the last 2 weeks, it was that part of the offense. The run game completely disappearing from this offense and not even giving these guys a chance.
But that's Gibson. That's something I've been noticing. Like, I don't know if it's because of the injury. I know he had his toe injury today, but he's just going down too easily. He was falling all over the damn field today.
Slipping, falling, can't hold his. It was frustrating because this was happening at least since the Raiders game, Drake. Yeah. At least since the Raiders game.
Mm-hmm. And that hurts. That's what he had, 1.7 yards per carry?
1.7 yards per carry.
Wow.
That's the number.
Yeah, that hurts.
26 yards in general. I mean, it seemed to be like they mentioned it early in the broadcast booth with Mark Sanchez, who was unbearable tonight, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. In case you guys didn't know, he came and played for us at some point, and he was in the same position as Gilbert, but I digress. I mean, he said that we relied on Gibson throughout most of the season, and that's certainly the truth, and this run game has been incredible in some moments for the Washington football team, but for them to just take their foot off the pedal like that and just finish as stagnant as they did, I mean, do you blame that on the play call or do you blame it on Gibson? I mean, it's really hard to see who you point the finger at here. It really is, at least in my opinion.
I mean,
it's
on Scott Turner. It's on Scott Turner. Like, I mean, at some point, you have to realize what is in front of you. Like, you're playing in the rain and you have your damn running back running running to the edge instead of going north and south. Like,
he couldn't run north and south either.
Like,
I'm about to say they weren't getting anything.
He couldn't run, but it seems like they're also scared for him to run the ball and fumble too. Like, that's another element. Like, they're really scared of this dude fumbling the ball and putting teams in great positions. So it's like your hands are somewhat tied, but at the end of the day, you have to mix things up. Like, when they went deep, they either got a PI or they ended up getting the completion. So it's like, if your man is going to stand back there like a statue, I mean, Gilbert did not move in the pocket at all. Like, he didn't step up one time. He literally hiked the ball and just stood there and just threw the ball. Like, it's the most ridiculous shit ever. But like I said, at the end of the day, man, I don't even know. It is what it is. Like,
so
I don't really.
Here's
know
one thing that I want to ask you though, because you brought up something good with Scott Turner. There was a moment in the third quarter, fellas. Philly made this last second adjustment with a run blitz, and it was as if they knew Washington's play call, and it was to Antonio Gibson like a halfback sweep out of a shotgun, and all of a sudden Philly sent a whole house blitz to Washington on third down and ends up forcing a punt with a loss of yardage and things like that. I was confused, and I think time will tell and point this out, but it caught my eye because the first thing that popped up into my head, and it's to your point, AJ, it seemed as if they knew Washington's play call. Like, it seemed as if they understood Turner's tendencies. I remember there was one moment in which there was a stat, like, if it wasn't against Dallas, it was against Raiders, where Washington always runs the ball in a certain situation. Like, that was statistically provided to us by the broadcast team. And this just reminded me of that once again. It's like, did they really pay attention to the tendency? And did they know that it didn't matter if they sent the blitz or if they did prevent defense, that he was going to run it in that situation from a shotgun sweep? I'm gonna hand that to y'all and see if y'all remember the play that I'm talking about, but also your thoughts on it.
Was that the play where it looked like the guy got offsides for the Eagles?
So that was first half. I'm sorry, that was first half. Third quarter. Shoot, I guess it was a distinct moment to me then, really, because it was a halfback sweep out of the backfield. It was a critical situation. I think we were down at that point. We were down 10. I want to say we were down 10 if my math serves me right.
But, I think I know what down you're talking about. They blew it up in the backfield.
It was a sweep to Gibson. And it was like three different Eagles in the backfield already, and it was like they knew where they was going with the ball. So I wish I could describe it a little bit better than that, but yeah, it was bad. It stood out to me.
Well, I mean, the playbook's going to get cut in half, obviously, and I think a lot of people expected that. I mean, I wish there was a statistic for passes thrown behind the line of scrimmage, because poor freaking Garrett, I mean, he hardly threw past the line of scrimmage tonight. But I mean, what I really want to talk about is I I feel like J.D. McKissick is a little bit more of a loss than some people want to admit.
Agreed.
Because, I mean, especially not just as a running back, but as a blocker in the backfield, Antonio Gibson really lacks in that department too. I mean, losing JD, putting him on the IR, I think, was it today or yesterday? That was a huge loss for the organization. I mean, I've just heard more and more throughout the season that JD might be the best back in this backfield. And, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, I've seen it kind of going back and forth. Of course, there's all the receptions with JD as well. But, I mean, you guys feel like not having JD was a huge loss? Because it certainly felt like one to me.
Oh, you're 100% right. I'm gonna hand the floor to y'all first, but
I mean, I think JD McKissick is the best running back on the team, hands down. Like, it's without question. But you know, at the end of the day, they don't feature him as you would think so. Just really boils down to Scott Turner once again. I mean, I'm not trying to like get on him every week, but dude isn't it. So I know we try to make excuses for him because of the lack of consistency when it comes to the quarterback position here, but it's just
a lack of talent.
You have to start. I mean, but they're getting the talent though. Like, take for example the guy everyone's been waiting to see, Curtis Samuel. They got him because that's Scott Turner's boy, and also
he can't get on the field.
Brought in somebody. Yeah, but they knew that he had an injury problem before they even signed him. Like, they just thought that they would be able to bypass it. That's all it is. Like, at the end of the day, they brought in people that have been familiar to their system. Everything has been with familiarity to who they are. So if we're going to talk about the lack of talent, that's a blame on the coaches. And the main person shopping and buying the groceries is Ron Rivera. Everybody got a tie to Carolina some way, somehow. This damn statue that just played quarterback for 3 hours that we just watched, who does he have a tie to?
Right.
I like it, AJ. You trying to hold him accountable, man. That's important. You got to hold his coaching staff accountable.
I don't. Yeah, I'm about to say AJ is definitely good for it. But the only thing I don't have an issue with is the Gilbert thing. Like, I just really don't understand who else you can go to in this short of a spot. Like, I don't even blame them for not putting out Shermer. I don't blame them for that.
I mean, but that's my thing, Maul. Like, you could definitely go get a quarterback that's athletic and has experience as well. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Johnson is on somebody's practice squad. You could have brought him back here. You feel me? There's plenty of quarterbacks that can at least move around. Like, you literally brought Betty White back there to play quarterback. And you know you have a makeshift.
But he wasn't bad, AJ.
I'm about to say that's the question. Did he play bad?
Yes, he played bad. Like, he played bad. It's not about. That's the thing. Like, so people are gonna be like, what are your expectations for whatever his name is, Gilbert, right? And it's like, at the end of the day, you brought this dude in because of the experience that you say he has, and he also knows your playbook. But did it look like he knew your playbook when you were out there on the field and calling plays? Hell no.
Well, let me ask you this, though, AJ. If you bring a guy in on Friday, do you expect him to do much better than what you saw today at the quarterback position?
If I'm bringing in a guy that supposedly has familiarity with my playbook, my scheme, and the nuances of my of the play calling, I expect to see more from him.
Okay, but Josh Johnson
doesn't have that. I'm saying.
Josh Johnson don't have that.
AJ, all right, let's take a look around the league here. So you brought up Josh Johnson, New York Jets practice squad. Some other guys we got floating around: Jeff Driscoll with the Houston Texans. What is it? You got Josh McCown, Arizona Cardinals. I think you got Brian Hoyer with the New England Patriots. I could definitely see what you're saying. There are some better options out there, but a lot of these guys are kind of that similar stature of statues in the pocket and not really, able to extend the play like a guy like Taylor Heineke. So I'm not really seeing as many options out there, but I definitely see what you're saying.
Only two he got is Jeff Driscoll and goddamn Josh Johnson. Those are the only
Jeff
two
Driscoll
options he got.
Trash.
Josh Johnson's an upgrade, though. I mean, I agree with AJ on that.
I don't know, bro. I think the whole point is we all know we need a goddamn quarterback. That's the whole problem there.
That's we need a real quarterback.
Talk about some bullshit.
We talking about Rex Grossman and John Beck right now. That's what we're talking about. We're arguing about that.
Oh my Lord. But all right, so I guess we got a couple more things. before we close out. We talked about quarterback, the running back situation, obviously. Defensively, I'm not. So put it this way: the Eagles was able to run a lot. You couldn't stop an RPO. You couldn't stop an inside zone. You couldn't stop a stretch. You couldn't stop a power. You couldn't do anything. Goddard, Sanders, and Hurts, all stars for the night for Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know. Like, it looked so bad. I don't know if there was any adjustment Del Real. I'm not giving him excuses. I'm just literally saying it was so bad. I don't know if there was any adjustments he could make to really stop these guys from getting blitzed in the trenches like that. Getting dominated in the trenches like that. Because if you blitz these guys, Jalen Hurts was, he was just as accurate. Like, he was on point. So it was like you couldn't play man against him, and if you played zone, you were still getting gashed up front. So I was like, I think it was a perfect storm for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't know how you counter that from a coordinator standpoint. I'm gonna give the floor to y'all in the performance tonight, especially up front. But I don't necessarily understand how you can play that bad, but also what adjustments could you make if your guys are getting dominated? Like, how can you make a substitution or how can you make a coaching adjustment if your guys are getting dominated like that? Anybody can tackle that.
I mean, for me, it's just been a trend throughout the season. This defense has never played complementary football with the offense. I feel like every time the Washington football team ties it in close or even makes it a salvageable game on offense, the defense lets them down, or vice versa. And like you said, up front, you got all those first-round draft picks, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Matthew Ioannidis, who's not a first-round draft pick, but definitely has played like one. You got all these studs on the defensive side of the ball, and none of them are making anything happen. And it just, and don't get it twisted. Those turnovers felt very fluky. I mean, I never really fully felt like the Washington football team was in control of this game whatsoever. I never felt like we were really in it. And it was mainly because I knew that they were never going to play complementary football, and that was a big part of the win streak. And as far as substitutions concerned, Maul, who was playing outside backer tonight? Because I know James was on the field, I know Cole's on the field, but who was the other guy? I can't even tell you who he is. I know he's street clothes because I've never heard of him before, and I'm having a hard time even thinking of his name right now. I saw his name on the broadcast, but regardless, you're playing with a bunch of bench warmers practically. And, for me, the biggest divide in the game was Jalen Hurts. You're able to actually do a lot of the things that AJ's talking about. All those passes out of the backfield, all the mobility, all the RPOs, all this next level stuff that Nick Sirianni's bringing. It just, of course, was lacking on our offensive side of the ball. But not only that, but our defense just was not prepared for it in any way, shape, or form. And you're already lacking depth. You got Daniel Wise, William Jackson out of the game. Landon Collins looked like he wasn't going to finish the game either. So you're already stumbling into the game, man. So, I mean, I don't really – to answer your question, I don't know what adjustments you could have made. I don't think there was any adjustments to make just due to the state of the team going in.
And, yeah, the issue in this game, like I said, once again, the linebackers are exposed in this game. I mean, that's just been a weakness for the last 2 years, not just this year. I mean, Jamin Davis, I want to like the guy so bad, but it's like he doesn't make any kind of impact on the game whatsoever.
That's trigger word for me,
I get that.
Yeah, I would say Parker he does not like him.
But hey, a lot of people, it's hard to be in his corner right now because the guy just doesn't make any impact plays. Like, we have to kind of grade him on a curve where we're just happy if he makes a tackle. Like, he's just in the frame. Like, Jamin's there, he's developing. But, the defensive line, I thought it was a little disappointing to see them get bullied, even though the Eagles' offensive line, they're a pretty good offensive line, but it's still disappointing to see the defensive line get bullied the way they do. And like you said, the linebackers, they got exposed again. But one of the big losses, one of the guys we really missed tonight that obviously you couldn't make a adjustment for, Cam Curl. He's one of the best players on defense, and we definitely missed him tonight. So it was just one of those games. But like I said, it was really weird because I'm not used to seeing, no matter how good an offensive line is, I'm just not used to seeing guys like Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne and them, consistently get bullied in the run game. Like, we were just getting manhandled. Like, those holes were just opening. It was just. Like I said, it was just weird, man. So hopefully
Philly did a really good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, pull in all those things. Kelsey, shout out to Sleezo. To hell with y'all, but he did bring up a good point. Kelsey, he had a really good game, man, from the interior position, being able to get outside and secure the edges for Miles Sanders and company, man. It was I mean, if you were watching this game from out, you didn't have a stake in either team. You would have thought it was really good run blocking as well. Like execution up front was incredible. But I'm with you both. AJ, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but yeah, I just felt like for them to get dominated up front, it made the linebackers' job harder, but also the linebackers not being prepared for this moment and not being good themselves. Just it was awful.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, they didn't seem prepared defensively. It's like they weren't playing their keys. It didn't matter who was really going to be out there. They just weren't prepared. And I've seen that time and time again with this defense whenever they play a dual threat quarterback. So I'm pretty much used to it. I expect it at this point because they just aren't prepared. When I knew that Jalen Hurts was going to end up playing instead of Gardner Minshew, I was like, well, the defense is about to have a rough day, and it's going to look crazy. So that's exactly what happened. So I wasn't surprised at all. As far as adjustments, I felt like they probably could have blitzed a little bit more. They seemed to do so, but they did it in the second half, but it was poor timing. Like, for example, that big screenplay, that blitz could have came earlier in downs, but right there, they knew exactly what was coming. And Landon Collins kind of gave it up early too, so it's easy for Jalen Hurts to read and stick with that play. So it's just, at the end of the day, I don't even know what to say, bro. It was just a poor game defensively.
It was.
It is what it is.
It was. All right. Look, you said it good. So there was one thing that Merle mentioned. He said you do not respect Hurts at all, but he mentioned put 9 in the box and make him throw over top, play cover 4 or 2 deep cover to man underneath. And I think the only thing is like you had that man look. Hurt. That's the problem with Hurts, man, is that he's just as smart in the pocket as a just having an awareness standpoint, but he's also very aware of the coverages that he's playing against too. So like he had 8 carries for 38 yards. If you played man coverage against him like majority of the time, in which Washington actually kind of got away from after the bye week, they started playing a lot more zone. You end up having a guy having like Jalen Hurts rushing for like 12, 13, maybe 14 carries for like 60 something yards. So it's an even longer day for Washington on that side of the ball.
Hold on. I mean, let me just say something real quick. My man Parker is a real fan. He got a Will Compton jersey. I've never seen a Will Compton jersey in my life. Did he give you that jersey?
Game Will Compton jersey. Can I throw that out there too?
Jersey. He gave you that jersey. They don't even sell.
No, I bought it. It's of course there's a story behind it.
You
I'm a big fan of busting with the boys.
Money and bought it.
Look, man, this is what Comp was on the team, man. This is what Comp was on the team. Got this when Morris was on the team. I'm pointing the wrong side. I got this when Morris was on the team. This is all old memorabilia, man. But I'm gonna give a statistic to you guys as well. Brandon Scherf has missed 5 games this year for the Washington football team. They are winless in all 5 games. I think that is a big time statistic, and I feel like people are going to sit here and downplay Brandon Scherf and say don't pay the man, but you could see his absence on this offensive line today, and it was definitely in your face, just like the pass rush was in Garrett's face. So I don't know, man. We love not appreciating stuff till it's gone, and don't get me wrong. I definitely believe Brandon Scherf availability is an issue, but the numbers don't lie, and I feel like that's a number doesn't lie as well. So
but
just wanted
you
to throw
said
that
it right there, Parker. Like you're right. Like we are better with Brandon Scherf on the field, but availability is the issue. And do you pay $18 million a year when you can't get that availability? Because he's not going to give you 16 to 17 games a year. We've seen that for the last couple of years. And I also think, we're just decimated on the offensive line. I mean, what are we down to our 4th center? So we got a lot of guys we just can't move over. And then Sadiq Charles just looked like a hot mess today. I mean, we had high hopes for this guy.
Oh my God!
But yeah, that dude just looked horrible today. That damn, and he made that one play that the personal foul where some people might say it was a bad play, but he had no business hitting the dude. The dude wasn't even going to make a play on the ball.
I wasn't even mad at that.
I wasn't
mad at the call.
I wasn't mad at the call either. It was dumb.
I was definitely happy to get Cosme back, though. I think Cosme has been kind of the home run pick of this draft class, and I definitely am concerned for his long-term health as well, but it was good to see him back and mauling people up front. But Sadiq Charles, I honestly don't know why he's still on the roster. I guess they got to see if they can get any return on that investment. But things are looking dismal, guys. These playoff hopes definitely took a kick to the nuts tonight. So back to talking to – I remember, Maul, it was right when the winning streak started. You're like, we're going to start using that word, playoffs, and – sounds like that, like you said, it's a distant conversation now, man. You hate to see it. It was fun while it lasted.
That motherfucker fizzled out. It fizzled out just as quick as it started, man. God damn. Here we go. All right, fellas.
Old friend draft again.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and hit up these guys. You know what I'm saying? These college scouts, see if they got some words on these quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? That's what we transitioning to. But Parker, first and foremost, everybody, let's get the schedule out the way. Tomorrow, all 32 side to Trapper Dive, and then Thursday, I gotta play that by ear because I know that's Pop's B-Day, so you know what I'm saying, we got to play that one by ear right quick, but definitely back tomorrow for the all 32 side of Trapper Dive, and then we'll know about Thursday, but obviously back again on game day. It's another Trapper Dive late night, god damn, against the Dallas Cowboys, so we'll see how that goes. Parker, I appreciate you chopping it up. Obviously, we got to get you on at another time so we can have a more in-depth conversation about the team versus what we just saw in the actual football game. So that being said, let the people know where they can find you, where they can hear from you, read from you, all that good stuff, everything that you got going on, man. It's Plug Talk.
First of all, AJ, Dre, Maul, it's nice talking to all you guys. Happy holidays to all you guys. And, like you said, I hope next time I come on, we can talk a little bit more of a upbeat Washington football team conversation. But, win, lose, or draw, got to talk about the burgundy and gold. But you can find me over at Sidelines_WFT on Twitter and all social media. Got the link tree in our bios. You can find us on YouTube, Audio Realm. Anywhere they have podcasts, you can find Sidelines Washington, me, Rhea Robinson, chop it up over there. Talk all things burgundy and gold. So make sure you guys check us out. Once again, thanks for letting me come on Trapper Dive, man. Nice little early Christmas present for me, bro. Appreciate them all.
Hey, man, as always, you always been kind to me, man. You showing the support, bro. It's no big deal to chop it up with you, man. Toss some balls. So, with that being said, everybody, y'all be safe. Hey, Dre, what you got going on for holidays? You out of town? Oh, no.
Nah, I'm here, man. I'm a hometown boy. I ain't got no family outside of DC.
You know what?
So
I'm stupid.
I'm here.
I asked AJ the same question before we got started, so that's why I asked it. Okay, you are hometown. Parker, you heading out?
I'm in the area.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you heading out out of town for the holiday?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to see some family. I got some family maybe a couple hours away. I'm going to AEW tomorrow night, see some wrestling live. Nice little Christmas gift I got. But other than that, just going to kind of stick it with the people I see year round. You know what I mean? Kind of one of those guys. So.
Hey, look, man, we're going to invite Parker on after Christmas so we can see if we can get that Will Compton jersey replaced. Maybe get a Jamin Davis jersey on Christmas.
I don't think he's going to like that. I don't think he's going to like that one. Hey, but yeah, appreciate everybody in the chat. Merle, man, hey, I appreciate the love, bro. You've been, I don't know, ever since you found this one, man, you've been tapping in every single live stream. So I appreciate you. Journey, anything, same thing happened to you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all that good stuff. So y'all boys be safe. And appreciate everybody watching, listening, all that good stuff. Peace.
Peace.
Boom.